My name is Morgan, and recently God has put on my heart that I need to come out of my shell and start interacting more with people, as I'm naturally a hermit. I was listening to a podcast one day about, God calls us to love others as our highest calling, and I realized I can't love other people unless I go out into the world and meet other people, and I can't share who Jesus is with people unless I'm in those places and those opportunities. So I recently joined a rec soccer league, which is out of my comfort zone. I actually quit soccer 15 years ago because of my own insecurities. So joining this league was a big step for me. And in doing so, I think it's taking everyday things that we do in the world and just looking for opportunities within those moments. And so after one of our games, we went to Native afterwards, and we were able to kind of all talk and get to know each other better. And Natalie and I were talking to one of the guys on our team, and the conversation kind of shifted about culture of churches in the South and what his interpretation was, and we were able to kind of lead that conversation into his own perspective, and it wasn't necessarily a positive one. And so once he was done sharing, I was able to share my own testimony, which was just my relationship with Jesus, right? It was just sharing what Jesus has done in my life and what that relationship is, and how it's not a religious experience, but it's a personal relationship that's transformative. And I could feel that God was steering the conversation where it was going, and we didn't have a script or a master plan. It was just listening to somebody tell about their life and their experience. And I was aware that even talking about the culture of the Bible Belt was an opportunity. So I think it's just looking at those little conversational pieces that are natural and being able to kind of step into something more with that. And I think a lot of it is just in our everyday life, there are small opportunities, and it's being cognizant and then being bold enough to share your story. In order for me to be effective when I was sharing my testimony, I had to push out the doubts and the concerns I had about what he might think about what I was going to say. I was thinking, there's no way he's going to be open to this, and so that made sharing even more uncomfortable. But I could feel the Spirit prompting that conversation that way, and so it was really just silencing the doubts of discomfort and thinking about what he might think, and just allowing the Spirit to take over. And I think the thing that was most surprising was that it wasn't really uncomfortable to share it all, because in that moment I knew I was doing God's will, and I could see that this is what he wanted in that moment. If I hadn't put myself out of my comfort zone and joined a rec league and then taken that opportunity to share and be more vulnerable and risk maybe him not liking what we have to say, then I don't think we would have had the conversation that we would have had. And honestly, he was very open to it, and I think that was surprising, especially considering his initial attitude. So it just goes to show you, like, the Spirit works, and even when you think this might not be something somebody wants to hear, like, oftentimes they're more open than you think their hearts are.